This video contains facts, myths, strategies, and understanding every module in IELTS, that is listening, reading, writing, and speaking. In fact, I can say that this video can help you fetch 8, 8.5 or 9 bands as well. So do not forget to watch it till the end. Let's begin with the first one. Remember that first of all, let's understand the reading structure or the question paper overall. There will be total 40 questions, right? And every question will be based on a passage. So let's say we have our first passage. There will be some questions based on this passage. And as you can see, we have at the end question number 39 and 40 mentioned, right? So like I said, there are total 40 questions and every question will be based on a passage. Now, what happens, the most common mistake is, because we have been studying, normally like this, that we read the full paper. We read the full paper first. That means we start from beginning. So, we keep looking at, what is there in the exam? It is not your school exam or college exam. So first thing first, do not read full paper, please. When it comes to reading, you're wasting a lot of time because we don't have much time. We have only 60 minutes and how many? 40 questions. So this is going to be difficult at the end. So do not read full paper. That's the first advice I would give it to you, right? Remember this, guys, we have a new batch starting soon on our website called ieltsclass.learnwithsimons.com. We got 4.8 out of 5 and trust me, this works. Most of the people get their desired bands within a span of 15 days only. So I would suggest you to visit our website and see what kind of courses we have. Let's continue. Second thing I must say that is, don't be scared by looking at the size of the passage. Look, it's huge. Every paragraph in this passage is huge. Look at this one. But don't be scared, because the answer for each question will be found in a very short place, basically, somewhere written somewhere in one of the sentences. So looking at the passage and being scared of the size of the passage will definitely create a negative impact on your score. So do not be scared. As simple as that. I cannot exaggerate on this. Don't be scared of the passage size, okay? That's the second advice. Third, and please don't keep looking at the time. That is my third advice, because see, in CBT we will get a timer on the top, that is, it'll keep going down. So once it is, let's say 60 minutes, it'll go down to 59, and then of course you'll be able to see it if you want to. And people keep checking the time. This creates a useless pressure on you. So please don't keep checking time and how much is left. You can check time after your section 2 is over. And what is section 2? Section 2, in the sense, almost 26 questions are over. So after that you can check, okay, how much have I done? Or after every section you can check, just check 3 times. So we have sections, each section 13 to 14 questions, right? So after every 13 to 14 questions you can check that. I don't mind it, and you shouldn't mind that either. But keep checking question, keep checking your time will not give you a better score. In fact, it'll give you negative. It'll be a negative impact on your score. Don't keep checking your paper. Now, let's get into details about each question. If you notice here, we have a question type, right? Question 1 to 7. Now, what type of question is it? First of all, you have to determine what type of question is this. This is called true, false, and not given type of question. You also, kind of tick mark whatever you want to do, or in CBT you can highlight. Secondly, read the instructions. How do you have to answer the question? For example, how many words do we have to answer? Here we don't have a word parameter, but look, let me show you one example. How many words we have? For example, if you look here, no more than 2 words they have mentioned. Sometimes they mention you have to use options, right? Please write options. So we have to read the instructions to understand how your answer has to be written in the answer sheet, right? So don't mess it up by just making, reading and finding the answer, but based on the instructions going wrong. That is incorrect completely, okay? Now, inside the exam, I would like to tell you one more thing. Mostly sequence matters in most of the question types. For example, for the first question, if you find the answer somewhere here, let's say, the second question will not be above this, it will be below this. I'm not saying below next paragraph, maybe in the next sentence or 2 sentences later or 1 paragraph later, but it will not be above, it will not be before your previous question. So this is where you found your first question. It can be here or here or here, but it will be in the sequence. So remember that most of the questions, except one or two, for example, matching feature like this one, here sequence cannot match, but that is only few questions, let's say 2 to 3. So we're not going to rely on those questions. Anyway, I mean, we'll talk about them later, right? Finally, please don't misunderstand or don't think question is not important. People run after answers rather than understanding the question. So remember, question is really important. Reading the question properly and then jumping to the passage is the right way. Jumping to the passage before you understand the question is, kind of searching for anything or everything. We're not searching anything and everything. We are searching for the question, right? So do not misunderstand or be in a hurry while understanding the question. That's a common mistake, and people spend so much time in finding the answer without reading the question properly. Right. Now, these are the basic advices, and last advice I would give you is try to complete the test within 50 minutes if possible, because then you can check your, let's say, whatever you have left for later. You will have to leave something. You cannot complete the full exam in the same sequence from 1 to 40. You cannot do that. Some questions you have to do later. For example, this one I would always do at the end. I mean, this is my style, right? And you should adopt that too, because they are very confusing. Why to do confusing questions first, right? So check at the end what is left. So within 15 minutes, you should be able to complete the test. So time management is also something you need to see. Try to write 1 or 2 mock tests and then see how it goes. And based on that, you can decide on your time management, right? This was your reading. Now, let's just put it aside and get started with our listening. I have some listening. I have not some one exactly full test printed here. And in listening, the first thing is not based on question paper. Actually, it's based on something else. In exam, you generally get headphones, right? So I don't know if I can draw it properly, but yeah, you get headphones, right? And in the headphones, you get somewhere to change your volume, right? Your volume you can set by yourself. So please always, before the audio begins, check the volume. How clearly can you hear, what they are playing in the audio. They'll give you time for that, but always check the volume. This will be crucial for later, right? First thing. Remember to use your time wisely. Now, before we even jump on that, let's see how many questions do we get. In here as well, we get 40 questions, right? There's no time based on audio itself. They play the audio. There are total 4 sections. 4 sections. Based on that, we have 40 questions. And as I can show you, we have section 1 mentioned here, and 1 to 10 is section 1. Then section 2 mentioned here. Section 2 will continue till here, till 20, and then we have section 3 mentioned here. Section 3 will continue till of course 30, like ends here, and then we have section 4, 40, 31 to 40, right? Like I said, 40 questions. Before every section, there will be a break. In that break, they'll give you time to understand the question. It's really important to use that time wisely, because we cannot just jump into the text without understanding what's happening, what kind of question it is, what strategy will I apply, do I have to focus on the blank, or do I have to understand the other things to understand the structure. There are many advices. So this time is really important, and that varies, that varies basically. So we have 30 to 40 seconds time when it comes to section 1 to section 3. In between that, for example, 1 to 6, you have 1 slot, 7 to 10. Before every slot, you will have 30 to 40 seconds break to check what is mentioned, and you should read, and then based on that, based on the audio, you will answer the question, right? In section 4, they'll give you 60 to 70 seconds. This time, we have to be very careful about how we are spending this time, because if this is gone, you cannot get it back. Audio only plays once, right? And once it is gone, it's gone. There's no chance of going back or moving forward by yourself. It is played by itself. So no, we don't need to make this mistake of not spending the time properly, initially 30 to 40 seconds. For example, in here they have mentioned something about staff are blank and air condition is to blank. Now, based on this phrase, we will understand they're talking about comments and reviews on top-end backpackers, right? And what comments about staff and air conditioning. So this has to be done in the initial 30 to 40 seconds. And now when the audio plays, you'll be able to mostly find the answer, right? So be careful about what you are listening. Don't fall for this, that I'll have it done at the end. This is not TOEFL, this is IELTS. In TOEFL, they get you extra time at the end, right? Okay, now comes the real problem. Let's just get rid of this. The real problem in listening is distraction. So distractions create issues, because when they are playing the audio, in the audio itself, right, let's say they are trying to derail you, they are trying to take you to different direction, or trying to take you to, let's say, wrong answer. So distractions are the disasters or the problems of the complete listening. If you know how to get away from distractions, most of the answers will be correct. Distractions plus also predicting what you will be getting the answer is the key for listening. Please remember, these two words can completely kind of getting 8.5 to 9 in listening if you perfect these two things, removing distractions and perfecting your predictions, right? Predicting what could be the answer. Based on that, listen to the audio and answer the question. So practice more on this. Wherever you get distracted, recognize where you got this, and based on that, you write it down. Okay, now coming to once you did this, you, based on the audio, you're listening everything and writing the answer. Do not write very slowly. For example, the answer is the boat. Okay, so let's say this is what I've written, and I'm writing very slowly and calmly and peacefully. By this time, they might play something else and you might be distracted. Write it very quickly, because you can read your own handwriting. In CBT, they will give you a notepad as well, so no need to worry about, I have to type. No. So write answers very quickly so that you don't have to worry about, what did they play? And I was writing nicely in nice handwriting, clear. No, write it quickly as you can. Right? Okay. Last but not the least, this is a psychological problem. See, let's say I've done 11 to 14 questions, and in those, I think my 2 answers were incorrect. I mean, I didn't find the answers or something like that. Now, most people, what they will do is they will get worried, and the initial 15 to 20 questions, they will not focus. They will think about the previous 2 questions. Very common and very hard to get away from, but it is what it is, right? That it's gone, it's over. Let's just focus on this. It's okay, these are just 2 questions. We have more to go through. So please focus on the coming questions rather than depending on, what happened to those 2 questions. Not really, not necessary. Focus on the coming questions. What is over, and this is what you have to live with, right? So maybe in the practice you can check if it is working out or not, but in exam, if it happens, please remember, leave those 2 questions rather than working on the other things, right? Okay, this was your listening. So listening is kind of done, kind of basic done. I would not say completely done, but yeah, basic is enough. Now talking about writing, this is for academic. In general training, instead of this part, there are 2 tasks in writing, by the way, task 1 and task 2, right? And yeah, this is, by the way, no, sorry. These are the 2 types of tasks, that this is for academic and this is for general training, okay? In academic, you're supposed to write a report based on an image, and in general training, you're supposed to write a letter based on a situation. In both the cases, it will be one essay. There will be an essay that you have to write. That is part 2. Essay will not change. Both of you have to write an essay, okay? No conditions will change at all, right? So how do we understand what's happening here, and how do we answer these questions when it comes to writing, and what things do we have to worry about? Remember that your total time is combined with part 1 and part 2, which is 60 minutes. You can spend as much as time here and there, but I would suggest you to spend part 2 more time, because we have more number of words. In part 2, you are supposed to write 250 words. In part 1, like mentioned here, it's 150 words minimum, okay? This is minimum. You have to go beyond that. There is no upper limit, by the way, okay? Secondly, please understand that in writing, people don't understand what the question is. It's pretty common, and it's annoying, because they don't read the question. They just read it once in a way, not even properly reading it, and then they start writing the answer. What happens with this problem is sequence is a problem. You don't get content, so sequence gone, content gone. Grammar, vocabulary might not be that a big deal, but other things do get affected. Your task response is weak, and eventually you don't get a good score. So we need a planning method before you even begin. Our planning method is called power method. In few of our videos, you have understood the power method, where we plan before we write. It's a kind of 5-step method, and it's done. You will understand the question as well as properly plan your answer. Once you plan your answer, some people, though they know the structure, they don't follow the structure. We have in our sessions we discuss what are the 3 parts, or what are the 5 types of question types in essay writing. What are the 3 parts in there? So we have introduction, body paragraphs, and conclusion. This can be multiple. Introduction has 3 types of sentences. Conclusion has possible 2 types. What are the parts in body paragraph? So basically all that comes in technicality. Knowing your technicality is important. Most people do understand that in sessions or even without sessions, but they don't follow them. They think, oh, this is the question, I know something about the question, I'll write directly the answer. Not really. You have to follow the structure, which is, for example, in body paragraph, you have a set structure. That first sentence discusses what your body paragraph is all about. So kind of the heading of your body paragraph, and it continues, right? There is no break. And the next section, continuous sentence, is explanation of what you mentioned. And then we have example of what you mentioned. So this is the set structure. Of course, we have more details inside, but my point is, know the structure, follow it, only then you can get a good score. Okay? Now there are, like I said, multiple types possible. So let's just write the types here. We have letters, we have reports, and then we have essays. Let me just tell you what happens. In letters, we have only 2 types of letters. Semi-formal kind of is gone, formal and informal. Reports, we have 6 types of reports, and essays, we have total 5 types of essays overall. We have subtypes as well, but we're not gonna count them right now, but 5. If you understand all the question types, understand this can come up in exam, you won't be surprised, right? So it's important to read about all of them, right? Okay, this was your writing. I'm not going to discuss in detail. I want to tell you that this is what you're supposed to do. Okay, right. So this was your writing, like I said, in short. Now coming to the speaking part. In speaking, I must say that there are students, every batch, there is 1 or 2 students who has time issue. Not about answering the time. They don't reach on the place, in the let's say at the place where they're supposed to on time, and the test is gone, the time is gone. So please be on time at the test place, right? Otherwise you will have issues. First thing. Secondly, let's understand the structure. We have 3 parts, part 1, part 2, and we have part 3 at the back. So each part has its own reason to be there. Total test will be anything between 11 to 14 minutes, right? Now another problem of students, I'm talking to them normally, and let me just get rid of this and have a blank paper here. Let's say I'm talking to them normally. I'm asking them, guys, how are you and how are you not? And they're nice to me, like talking friendly, you know, they're being friendly and they're answering my question like how was their day and everything. And suddenly when I say, let's just discuss about IELTS speaking part 1 questions, their tone becomes robotic. They sound like a robot. Because I told them this is an exam, a mock test. So don't sound robotic or monotonous. Try to be as friendly as possible, because this is what they're looking at, you know, how nicely you can communicate, how fluent you are. So don't be robotic, because even if your language is a bit weak, but if you sound friendly, if you sound non-robotic, if you sound natural, chances of you getting high score are really good. Okay, remember that. Okay. Second, there are 3 parts, like I said, part 1, part 2, part 3. Every part has a reason, and also every part should be answered in a certain way. For example, answers for these questions should be anything between 3 to 4 sentences. You cannot answer in 1 or 2 sentences, right? That's very short. In part 2, answers should be 2 minutes maximum, and you get 1 minute for preparation. That is a different thing altogether, but be ready for 2 minutes. They can stop you after 1 minute 50 seconds, but yes, be ready for 2 minutes content. Okay. Finally, coming to the part 3. In part 3, you're supposed to speak for 6 to 7 sentences. It can be 4 to 5 sentences, but it should be long sentence. Point is, some people don't follow that. They answer in 1 or 2 sentences for part 3, which is the kind of extensive answer mentioned on the website. So don't do that. Please try to answer in a little bit longer sense. This should be 3 to 4 sentences. This should be 2 minutes, and that should be 6 to 7 sentences long. Okay. What happens in each part, that's not something we are looking for at here, but remember that common mistakes are time and panicking or robotic tone, and finally not following the structure, that is not answering this long. Now yes, we have many themes available, many more things available in our masterclass. Our masterclass is quite famous. We most of our students get anything between 8 to 9 bands. I would suggest you to have a look at the website. The website is called IELTSclass.learnwithmns.com. Right? It's mentioned in the description and also you have seen it earlier. I hope you all enjoyed the video and understood what is IELTS and what you should do and should not do. I hope you get a great score in IELTS soon. Take care all of you. See you soon.